Kia ora. My name is Julia Rose and I'm the Partnerships Manager at the Christchurch Foundation. Today I have another fabulous female leader for you as part of our Women's Fund speaker series. These videos are centred around smart conversations about how our city can cope with COVID-19. If you haven't seen the previous two videos, then take a look on our website and our social media channels and share them with your networks. Today's inspiring conversation is with Jane Cartwright. Welcome, Jane.
Kia ora, nice to see you.
Great to talk to you. Jane has extensive experience in our health system and local government. Just to name a few, her board appointments are the Ara Institute, Nurse Maude, Brakenridge, and she's currently in leadership roles in both the New Zealand Breastfeeding Alliance and the Canterbury Clinical Network. She's a registered dietitian and holds an MBA. So it'll be no surprise to you that I felt she was clearly a leader in the health sector, and I wanted to talk to her about the health implications of COVID-19. So Jane, we know from international studies that women are more likely to be impacted by a pandemic, given that over 70% of frontline staff are women. First of all, is that actually the case in New Zealand? And if it is true, how do you think policy making should take this into account? And what should government and the wider community do to support them?
Well, you're absolutely right. In New Zealand, over 75% of the broader health and social sector workforce are women. So that's consistent with here. And often women at many ages, we shouldn't forget that many women over the age of 65 are also in both paid and unpaid work for the health and social sector. So what in a policy setting should we be doing? Well, it's about making sure that in their employment that they are appropriately remunerated, and that at this time around COVID that their needs to look after their own wellness and their own safety are recognised and supported, but also recognise that in their day-to-day work many of them are working looking after people who are not suffering COVID related issues. In fact, in Canterbury that's most people, that they're still looking after people who've got they're still having babies, so midwives are still out there working really hard. You've got GPs out there supporting women and families who are unwell, and you've got nurses working in the hospitals and in aged residential care who are working their butt off to try and support people who have got those normal health issues. And so that's, as an employer, what we've got to do is support those and recognise that work is not their only life, that they go home, many of them, to very supportive environments where they've got partners and wider family who look after running of the household. But we do need to recognise, like all parts of society, there are women who work in the health workforce who don't have that support and may be going home to an abusive environment or to an environment where there aren't many resources, or they may be going home to something on their own. And so in terms of the health workforce, we are putting a lot of support and a lot of questioning into supporting our workforce so they don't feel alone.
Oh, that's great to hear that you're putting the support practices around them. I imagine that working in the health sector would be stressful at the best of times. What's the mood like?
I think the mood is variable, and it's variable on any day. Some people are coming to work feeling very tired. Some people are coming to work and as the days have gone by, I've been able to get a bit of comic relief and just let off a bit of steam. Some people are coming to work with the burdens of their home and other situations and the worries of their own family. Is their partner going to be unemployed? Bringing those to work. And so that's about, on any one day, just taking account of that and recognising they're all coming to work to try and do the best they can and supporting that. So I would say that today, on the 7th of May, my experience is, particularly as we've just had the announcement about what level 2 will look like, people are feeling a bit of a sense of relief. But, there are variabilities in the workforce.
That's right. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was that we've heard a lot about what the economic fallout of COVID-19, the impact that will have on our health system. And here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch, we're unfortunately just a little bit too familiar with the ongoing effects of a crisis on our health system. So what should Christchurch be doing to prepare for this?
Well, I think we need to recognise that the economic impacts will be significant, and they'll be significant because of the lack of tourists. The fact that we're still, in an economic sense, recovering from a number of earthquake-related issues, and that as people sort of tighten their belts, then they may not be out there spending or doing activities or being able to afford to be involved in things. So how do we be kind to each other, recognise different people's lives, how do we walk the path with them, and I suppose also about, making events free, supporting people in the way we can. At a personal level, you and I, now that we can travel a bit further, are we going to get to some of those tourism spots in Canterbury and enjoy a weekend in Hamlin or Kaikoura or Akaroa and put a bit of money back into those communities, because they'll be hurting hard. And for women, we need to recognise that economic downturns have a large impact on them, particularly younger women who will be unable to find employment and or will be unable to sustain their part-time employment, which for many of them will be hard financially, but also sometimes it's really hard socially, that they don't get out of the house to do certain things. So how are we going to try as employers to sustain our workforce in terms of keeping people in employment?
That's right. And how should we be looking out for each other and I guess
I
plan?
think it's about as when you've got to be kind to each other, and you sometimes have to take a deep breath and recognise we're all entitled to a bad hair day occasionally. And when you go home at night, don't go home and take out your frustrations from work on your kids and your partner, and vice versa. When you walk into work, sometimes take a deep breath. Or if you're working with somebody like that who's having a hard time, how do you just give them a few minutes respite? Have a walk around the block, have a bit of fresh air. What is it that you need to do to support women in the workplace to maintain balance between all the demands on their time?
That's right. It's a good reminder that we're lucky to be in a country that is has a real appetite for this message of being kind to each other at the moment, and it's good just to keep reminding ourselves to think of each other and even be kind to ourselves.
That's right.
Since you're a health professional, I'm dying to ask, should we be feeling safe?
I think we should be feeling safer as the time goes on, but being safe means that we've still got to implement in our personal and work lives the disciplines of good hand washing, keeping our environments clean, and good social distancing. If you're sick, stay home. If you have got relatives who are unwell, stay away from them. So, and then from a mental health perspective, it is those messages of kindness, consideration, flexibility, taking time that will support your colleagues to get through this and keep people feeling personally safe and keep us as a safer society. And again, as I've said personally, let's keep the borders shut for a wee bit longer and review that decision in terms of our economic recovery.
Thank you, Jane. It's good just to remember that message of be kind and wash your hands.
That's right, absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time today. I personally feel really reassured, and it's great.
Well, thank you, and kia ora to your visitors, and remember it's about people, so take care.
Thank you, Jane. Really appreciate it. Kia ora.
Kia ora.